can make in blox fruits that can greatly affect your progression, demotivate you, and possibly make you quit blox fruits. So in this video I'll be telling you the top 10 worst mistakes you should avoid in blox fruits. That's enough yapping, so let's begin. Alright, so you're probably already familiar with this compass, or log post for One Piece nerds, as it guides you to recommended quests to grind in new islands. If you don't know how it works though, well, first you probably already know that each quests have level requirements, so if you just became level 775, the compass would go red since you can now do a higher tier quest with a level requirement of 775. If you just use it for the location of the next islands, that's fine, but if you use it as a leveling guide, well, that's a huge mistake. Never use the compass as a leveling guide, only use it if you ever need directions or something to the next island. If you don't already know, the island after the marine fortress is the bottom sky island, and it's horrible for grinding. I mean, the NPCs are all spread out and are far away from the quest dealer, which is why most experienced people skip this island for level 150 to 210. But if you're using the compass as your leveling guide, you'll probably think, oh nice, it recommends me to go grind at this new island, let's travel there. But if you're using an actual leveling guide, you'd know that bottom sky island is trash and it's recommended to just keep grinding at the marine fortress till level 210. Another good example is the Colosseum Island, as the island right after the prison is the Colosseum, so you probably went to grind there if you used the compass as a leveling guide. But this entire island is trash for grinding as the NPCs are super spread apart. It might literally be the worst grinding island in the entire game, so you'd be wasting lots of time grinding compared to if you just kept grinding at the prison island till level 350, and just skipped the Colosseum Island. If you want a leveling guide, I recommend you go watch this video. Now that's the first mistake, which is using the compass as a leveling guide. So let's move on. Stat points are very important in blox fruits, and I always see many people, especially first C players, mess up their stats. Firstly, you might not even know what stat points are, or how they truly function. So here's a rundown of each stat section. The first stat section is melee, and it increases fighting style damage by 0.5 and energy by 5 every time you put one stat point into it. The second stat section is defense, and it increases your health by 5 every time you put one stat point into it. And the third, fourth and fifth stat sections are sword, gun and blox fruits, and they each add plus 0.5 damage to their respective category every time you add one stat point to it. You get 3 stat points when you level up, meaning you get 7,650 stat points in total when you reach max level, meaning you can only max out 3 of the 5 sections. It's pretty much a blox fruits law that you max out the melee and defense section, for max energy and health. That'll leave you with one stat section you can max out, which will be the weapons. I maxed out the blox fruits section since, well, my main damage comes from blox fruits. So yeah, it just depends on what will be your main damage. Now the mistake I see people do is having stat points that look something like this. Now look, I understand hybrid stat points, but that is not a hybrid stat point. I don't really recommend hybrid stat points. It's better to just focus on only one, excluding melee, weapon section. One of my alt accounts uses hybrid stat points to cosplay as Katakuri, but it's more balanced out and looks like this. As you can see, even though this is a hybrid stat build, I don't waste any stats for sections that I barely use or need. I didn't use any guns since Katakuri doesn't, and even if I did, I wouldn't need any stats into guns since they'd just be used for grouping enemies. I feel like the main reason people use hybrid stats, excluding PvP of course, is because they use a weapon a bit, and think they must have stats in it just to kill the enemy faster. But that's a huge mistake. Unless it's for PvP, it's always better to just not use hybrid stat points. Hybrid stat points are more versatile, yes, but at the cost of less damage, health, or energy. That's a lot of yapping. So in summary, it's not recommended to have hybrid stat points unless it's for PvP, and even for PvP I still don't recommend using hybrid stat points, but some combos do require it, so I guess you must. There are 2 hockey types in blox fruits. The first is aura hockey and the second is instinct hockey, both of which are extremely important and useful. The aura hockey has 5 stages, each stage giving you defense and damage buffs. The higher the stage, the better the buffs, stacks. And instinct hockey lets you dodge attacks, and when upgraded it also lets you view the loadout of real players. These 2 hockeys can actually be maxed out pretty passively. They'll usually be maxed out once you're near max level, around level 2300 for instinct, and like level 1000 plus for aura. Now that you know all of that, Let's cover the mistakes you can make, as this section actually has quite a lot. One mistake I see a shocking amount of people make is not enabling their aura haki and instinct haki. I made this mistake too. Make sure you always have aura haki enabled when grinding. There's literally no downsides as it provides your character buffs. I did it because I just kept forgetting to, and that led me to max out my aura haki way later than I should have, slowing down my progression a bit. But over time it's pretty much become muscle memory to enable my aura haki when grinding. Lots of people also don't enable aura haki because it makes your avatar completely black when maxed out. So just talk to this NPC and set your stage to 0. It'll set your haki to only show on half of your arms/legs, so you can keep glazing your avatar. Now for instinct haki, a common mistake players make is get it when they reach the second C since it's pretty expensive. You can definitely afford instinct haki even in the first C, just have it your complete priority over any purchases. Now those are important mistakes many players can make regarding haki, so let's move on. Accessories play a huge part in blox fruits, as each accessory provides different buffs to your character. Accessories do not get enough love, and it's a mistake many players do as they underestimate the power of accessories. For example, if you were a blox fruits main, the dark coat would be a decent pick as it gives you plus 15% more blox fruits damage plus 600 energy and health. Or if you were a swords main, the pale scarf would be a good pick, as it gives increased damage on swords and blox fruits. And if you just want a general use accessory, the pilot helmet is probably the best pick as it increases your movement speed by 130%. A common mistake many players make is using accessories only for their looks, which I guess is fine if that's how you want to play the game. But it's still a mistake, as a pretty shocking amount of people do that, or don't even know the buffs of the accessory they're using. If you don't know the buffs of an accessory, you can either just Google it or talk to the nerd NPC, located at Cafe and Turtle Mansion. So make sure you know the buffs of the accessory you are using and that it suits your playstyle. Wasting money is a mistake I'm pretty sure every player has made, and it's pretty significant too. You're probably already familiar with this blox fruits gacha NPC. You pay him some money. Gets more expensive the higher your level is, to get a random fruit. I just paid 325,000 money to get a spike fruit, which is worth only 180,000. So I pretty much got scammed. Now let's say you wanted to get the light fruit, since that's the main fruit first C players try to get, and the way they try to get it is by gambling at the gacha. And that's pretty much the mistake. Most of the time you will never get the fruit you want first roll. It will take many rolls. It's much more efficient to just buy the fruit you want from the blox fruits stock. I mean, as you can see, it's on stock right now and costs 650,000. But if I were to try and get the light fruit by rolling, it would take me almost 3 million money, as you have an 11% chance to roll a light. So instead of spending 2.4 million extra, I can just wait till light is on stock, almost every day, and buy it for only 650,000. This is just one example, and this example gets better if you're trying to get a mythical fruit like Kitsune or something. You have a 0.1% chance to roll Kitsune, so it would literally take you 1,000 rolls and almost 325 million money to have a 100% chance of rolling it. In terms of probability. Now you might be saying, but Brujify, I'm not max level, I'm still in the second C. So rolling fruits is much cheaper for me. Well, yeah, that's literally the mistake. Since you're not max level, you probably haven't unlocked all the special abilities or fighting styles yet. I mean, honestly, I get so many comments on my tutorial videos saying how 3 million money is too much, and they can't afford the Dragon Talon fighting style. And trust me, it's not. It's just a lot because you probably spend all of your money gambling at the gacha. So my advice is, if you haven't unlocked all special abilities, fighting styles, or upgrades yet, I recommend just limiting your gacha rolls to like once a day. PvPing when you're not at max level isn't recommended, as you will face many disadvantages such as stat points, mastery, availability to weapons, etc. It can also make you swap fruits, as most grinding fruits aren't that good for PvP, while most PvP fruits aren't that good for grinding. I'm not gonna yap on this part too much. Just know that it's highly recommended to hold off PvP until you're around 50 levels away from max. And also, if you are only doing PvP early for bounty/honor, just grind bosses, as they're much more efficient than trying to kill players. But once you get 2,500,000 bounty/honor, bosses won't give you any more bounty/honor. So yeah, hold off PvP until max level, as you will face many disadvantages, and max level players can easily crush you. Changing your playstyles or fruits is one of the most common mistakes people do throughout all the Cs. This mistake can greatly slow down your game progression and waste a lot of time. Let's say this was your first C build, but it got boring, so you changed it to this build. But then that build got boring, so you changed it to this new build. Well, that's a huge mistake, as you'll be wasting tons of money purchasing the new weapons, and you'll grind slower as you'll have to regain the mastery. So yeah, don't change your playstyles too often if you're not already max level. There's just 3 more mistakes left, and in my opinion they are the 3 most important mistakes you can make in Blox Fruits. You probably already know what Discord is. If not, well, it's a platform where you can communicate with other people. If you're not already in at least one Blox Fruits related Discord server, discord.gg/bloxfruits is the official one, then you've been making a huge mistake. You can do stuff so much easier if you have Discord. Like if you wanted help doing race trials for Race V4, you can just ask on Discord for help, and trust me, it's much more efficient than asking people in public servers. You can also easily find trades on Discord compared to public servers. It's honestly such a huge time saver. You can also ask for help, discuss value, ask for raid carries, find people easier to see event/Leviathan hunt with you, etc. Discord is honestly just a huge time saver. So if you haven't already been using it, start using it now. When grinding in Blox Fruits, it's important that you have some fun every once in a while. I mean, the Blox Fruits leveling system is very repetitive. Take the quest, kill enemies, and repeat till max level. So make sure that every once in a while you just take a break or do something fun. If you just constantly grind and grind, you will get burned out, and this can cause you to quit Blox Fruits. You might think, don't worry, that won't happen to me. Well, you'd be surprised how many people just quit this game because of how grindy it is. Some people don't even reach max level. They just get to like level 2300 and then stop leveling up and start having some fun/grind for items. So make sure you don't tire yourself out when grinding. Alright, and finally we are on the worst mistake any player can commit in Blox Fruits, and it's playing alone. This mistake can affect your game progression, and can also possibly make you quit Blox Fruits. Like I said in the previous mistake, it's important to have fun in Blox Fruits, otherwise the game gets extremely boring, and you can't really have fun in Blox Fruits without friends. Honestly, I probably wouldn't even be playing Blox Fruits if it wasn't for my friends who helped me when I started. Like, I still remember them giving me a bunch of good grinding fruits and coaching me on what to do. I probably wouldn't have made it past the Snow Island without quitting if I played alone, as the first sea is arguably the most important sea and will determine if you'll stay or quit. Now I know some of you will be commenting the only reason I'm still playing is because I play alone, and you might also comment about how you'd rather grind alone in a private server rather than be in a public server grinding with friends and getting bounty hunted. But who said you can't just play with friends in a private server? You might prefer grinding alone, but trust me, if you're still playing alone after your max level, the game will get insanely boring. The only reason I haven't quit yet, even though I've pretty much 100% at this game, is because I play with friends. The only downside to playing with friends is that you'll grind slower, since you'll most likely get distracted. But you can always just voice call with them instead, which is what I prefer. And yeah, those are the top 10 worst mistakes you can make in Blox Fruits. Anyway guys, that's the end of this video. If you found this video useful, please consider liking and subscribing. Anyway, bye.